some people play games. These people broke them. Hidden secrets buried for decades. Challenges developers said were unbeatable. Mysteries locked inside games nobody thought to question. And they did it anyway. These are the 20 video game players who did the impossible, and the world never saw them coming.
Who are suffering because they cannot finish Nier Automata?
Number 20. Pokemon's hidden birthday bonus. Nobody was supposed to find this. Ever. A dedicated player was grinding through Pokemon Diamond and Pearl when something started feeling slightly off. Wild encounter rates seemed to shift depending on the real-world date, so they started tracking everything obsessively. They tracked everything obsessively for months. What they uncovered was extraordinary. The game secretly calculates wild Pokemon appearance rates differently based on real-world dates and holidays. Days of genuine historical tragedy carry the lowest spawn rates in the entire game. Most holidays receive a modest boost, but the single biggest encounter rate increase in all of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, the birthday of the game's own director. The one day the Pokemon world truly comes alive is the day its creator was born. That is not subtle. Number 19, EVE Online's real money theft. 4 years of patience. 1 day of execution. 16,000 real dollars from inside a video game. EVE Online is a living digital economy. Players build corporate empires, command massive fleets, and invest real money into in-game power. And in 2005, one of the most audacious operations ever executed inside any game reached its conclusion. A group of players spent nearly 4 years quietly infiltrating a rival corporation, working their way up through the ranks, earning genuine trust, gaining real positions of authority, learning every secret, every vault, every weakness. Then on one single coordinated day, they executed everything simultaneously. The CEO was ambushed and destroyed. Corporate vaults were emptied from the inside by people who had been trusted employees for years. 16,000 real US dollars gone. 4 years of patience for 1 day of complete and total victory. Number 18, AM2R's unstoppable developer. Nintendo tried to bury this. It did not work. One developer spent years rebuilding Metroid 2 completely from scratch. A passion project built entirely out of love for a series that had been neglected for far too long. The result was extraordinary. Many players considered it genuinely better than the original game. Then Nintendo arrived. Within days of release, a legal takedown forced the entire project permanently offline. Years of work gone, but the gaming industry had already seen what this developer could do. The skill was undeniable. Moon Studios, the team behind Ori and the Blind Forest, came calling. That same developer is now working on a well-received action RPG currently in early access on Steam. Nintendo tried to erase the dream. The industry handed over a career instead. Number 17, the Silent Hill 2 theory proven. This one took nearly 20 years to prove. Silent Hill 2 is one of the most psychologically disturbing games ever made, and its story has always been open to interpretation, deliberately so. Back in 2006, one player posted a theory on a Silent Hill forum. The argument was this: James Sunderland's wife Mary was not dead years before the game begins. She was dead in the backseat of his car. Right there. From the very opening scene. That theory lived in Silent Hill communities for nearly 2 decades, passed around, debated endlessly, never confirmed. Then the 2024 remake quietly answered everything. Players discovered that the developers had placed a body-shaped form beneath a sheet in James's car, visible from the very start. There is even a brand new ending where Mary appears in that back seat. 20 years of one player's obsession, finally confirmed. Number 16, Stardew Valley's hidden secret. 10 years, 50 million players, and one secret nobody has ever found. Stardew Valley turned 10 years old in early 2026, and during a celebration interview, the developer confirmed something that completely broke the community. There is still one single secret buried inside this game that absolutely nobody has ever discovered. Every type of player had tried. Dedicated hunters, community experts, people who spent thousands of hours breaking the game down completely, and still nothing. The reason data miners cannot find it is remarkable. The developer deliberately hid it inside the game's visual artwork rather than the code itself. A hidden message, announcing something that was later changed, meaning what it reveals is not even true anymore. It is still sitting there, right now, untouched, invisible to everyone. One secret surviving all of it. Someone out there is going to completely lose their mind when they finally find this. Number 15, Roller Coaster Tycoon 2's Impossible Track. A false claim. That was all it took. Back in 2013, a completely false claim was made about the longest possible roller coaster ride in Roller Coaster Tycoon 2. One player was not going to let that slide. They jumped into the track editor and started building, each creation longer and slower than the last. The first serious attempt took 152 real-world days to complete a single lap. Still, not enough. They kept pushing until the final creation in 2019 was mathematically calculated to take a 135 years of continuous riding to complete one single circuit. 135 years. The achievement caught global attention, and that player received a completely unique physical award that no other person has ever received, or ever will, all because one player refused to accept something that was simply not true. Number 14, Split Fiction's Laser Hell. This challenge was never supposed to be completed. The developers were convinced of it. Buried deep inside Split Fiction is a secret elevator. It drops both players into what the entire community now simply calls Laser Hell. What follows is a gauntlet of incredibly fast laser obstacle courses. 0 checkpoints. Anywhere. If either player dies at any single point, both players restart from the absolute beginning. No exceptions. The director of Split Fiction made a personal public promise. Anyone who genuinely completes Laser Hell gets flown to Sweden to see what the studio is building next. 2 players actually did it. They cleared every single laser, every single obstacle, from start to finish without dying. They got on a plane to Sweden. Sometimes the impossible comes with an impossible reward. Number 13, No Man's Sky's Impossible Meeting. 50 million to 1. Those were the actual odds. No Man's Sky was built around one fascinating promise. Its galaxy is so incomprehensibly vast that 2 players could spend their entire gaming lives exploring and never once cross paths. Hello Games placed the odds of 2 players organically finding each other on the same spot of the same planet at roughly 50 million to 1. Most players only ever see others at intentional hub worlds, where everyone goes on purpose. But in 2024, after 8 consecutive years of solo exploration, one player turned a corner on a completely random planet. No coordination, no planning, no hub. Another human being was just standing there. Pure impossible cosmic coincidence across 18 quintillion procedurally generated planets. That player should have immediately bought every lottery ticket available. We absolutely would have. Number 12, in Civilization 5's fan-made unit. One forum post. That is genuinely all it took. A longtime fan of the Civilization series wrote an elaborate thread. The title was Giant Death Robots. Inside were paragraphs describing in passionate and completely unhinged detail a vision for historically inaccurate mechanical killing machines. Designed to dominate the late game. Unstoppable. Devastating. Built for one purpose only. The developers at Firaxis read that post, and they liked it. Enough to actually build it. They created exactly what the post described, named it exactly what the fan called it, and shipped it in the finished game. One obsessed fan. One forum post written in the middle of the night. Now a permanent part of one of the most beloved strategy games ever made. That unit has ended millions of digital civilizations since 2010, all because someone really wanted giant robots in their game. Number 11, Red Dead's hidden Easter egg. Most open-world games reveal everything within the first year. Red Dead Redemption 2 held on to something for 7, and when it finally surfaced in late 2025, nobody was ready for it. Spiderweb carvings on a telegraph pole, only visible between 2 and 3 in the morning in game. That single carving pointed toward a chain of interconnected clues, directional symbols, hidden messages, mysterious birds on specific rooftops. The entire community went into a complete frenzy. A former developer responded publicly. They specifically remembered this Easter egg during development and genuinely believed it would never be discovered by anyone. The mystery connected all the way back to a location players had puzzled over for years. 7 years hiding in plain sight. One player looked at the right pole at the right time, and everything unraveled. Number 10, Doom 2's Unreachable Secret Room. One room, 24 years, one impossible solution. Doom 2 released in 1994. Players discovered fairly quickly that a secret room existed in level 15, clearly visible in map editors. The problem was a development bug made the trigger zone completely unreachable through normal gameplay. Cheat codes could access it, mods could access it, but playing the game as it shipped, locked out completely for over 2 decades. Then one player found the solution hiding inside the game's own enemy behavior. A specific floating enemy can push the player character through solid geometry under very precise random conditions. By carefully positioning that enemy and waiting patiently for exactly the right outcome, they got nudged through the wall. 24 years. The door was always there. It just needed the right monster to open it. Number 9, Mario 64's impossible missing coin. One coin. 18 years, 1 frame out of 60 per second. Super Mario 64 has hundreds of collectible coins, but on one specific level there is supposed to be 192 of them. Every player who ever tried could find 191. The final coin was sitting underneath the level geometry, clipped below the floor of the world, completely unreachable through any normal movement. For nearly 2 decades, players assumed it was simply a developer mistake. Then one player proved it was reachable. Mario must execute a frame-perfect jump while exiting a specific body of water. Time to land on the single frame between being submerged and being above the surface. Glitch through the central mountain. Reach the exact buried position of that coin. 1 frame. Out of 60 every second. 18 years of waiting for one person to find it. Number 8. Minecraft's Farlands Journey. 14 years. Walking in a straight line. Every single day. The Farlands are one of Minecraft's most legendary locations, the point where a world generation bug causes reality itself to break down. Located approximately 12.5 million blocks from spawn. Getting there on foot is simple in concept and completely unreasonable in practice. One streamer started walking in 2011, streaming the journey regularly, raising real money for a children's charity along the way. Other players reached the Farlands faster using sprint mechanics or shortcuts, but this player kept their original journey going every single day. For 14 years, they finally arrived at the edge of Minecraft's world in 2024. The Farlands looked exactly like everyone always imagined they would. The destination was never really the point. The 14 years were. Number 7, Punch-Out secret nobody saw. 30 years, and it was there the entire time. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out is one of the most studied games in NES history. Speedrunners memorized every attack pattern. Experts documented every timing window. Players analyzed this game from every possible angle for nearly 3 decades. And yet one detail survived all of it. During fights against 2 of the hardest opponents in the game, a single audience member sitting in the background briefly ducks their head at a precise moment. That duck is not background decoration. It is a timing cue. Throw a punch at that exact moment and it triggers an instant knockout. Not a damage bonus, an actual instant knockout. That cue had been visible in every single playthrough since 1987. 30 years of players staring directly at it. Nobody had ever thought to look at the crowd. Number 6. Nier Automata's buried shortcut. 4 years buried inside the game's own code, and nobody found it. Nier Automata requires multiple complete playthroughs to reach its true ending, the one that actually resolves everything. Most players spend between 15 and 20 hours getting there, but one player was convinced a shortcut existed somewhere that nobody had discovered yet, so they went past normal gameplay entirely, directly into the game's underlying code, and found a sequence of inputs that had never been triggered during normal play. A hidden developer cheat, left in from internal testing sessions, never removed before the game shipped. Stand in one specific spot, hold one specific button, input one exact sequence. The game skips every playthrough and delivers the most emotional conclusion immediately. Number 5. Shadow of Colossus's immortalized explorer. This player spent years exploring a game most people had forgotten, and the developers never forgot them for it. Shadow of the Colossus is one of the most mysterious games ever created, and one dedicated player became its most committed archaeologist. Starting in 2009, they spent years using memory editors and camera exploits to explore every unreachable corner of the game, documenting unused content, hidden geometry, developer material that no normal player would ever encounter. When Bluepoint Games rebuilt Shadow of the Colossus for PlayStation 4 in 2018, they paid that dedication back in an extraordinary way. 79 gold coins hidden across the entire game world as a dedicated scavenger hunt, a trophy named specifically after that player, their name placed inside the game's official credits, and a personal invitation to the studio launch in Austin, Texas. Years of unpaid obsession, permanently written into the game itself. Number 4. Final Fantasy IX's 168 blind jumps. 1,168 consecutive jumps without being able to see the screen. Final Fantasy IX contains a jump rope minigame near the very start of the game. Most players skip it without a second thought. Getting 100 consecutive jumps is considered genuinely difficult. Reaching 1,000 is considered nearly impossible due to increasingly unpredictable timing patterns and a brutal rhythm change around the 200 mark. One player decided that completing 1,000 jumps was not impressive enough, so they did it blindfolded. Completely unable to see the screen, relying entirely on audio cues and memorized rhythm patterns built from thousands of hours of obsessive play. Their final score was 1,168 consecutive jumps, blindfolded, in complete darkness. On a minigame, most players skip in the first 10 minutes. That is not skill. That is something else entirely. Number 3. Trials Evolution's 2113 Mystery. This puzzle has been solved. The reward cannot be collected for another 87 years. Trials Evolution is a motorcycle physics game that somehow contains one of the most elaborate real-world mysteries ever built inside any video game. One community of dedicated players spent 3 consecutive years following the trail, decoding hidden messages inside game levels, performing specific tricks to unlock hidden audio, solving layered riddles, tracking real-world GPS coordinates, locating actual physical metal lockboxes hidden in genuine real-world locations. Those boxes contained real physical keys. The developer confirmed completely seriously that those keys unlock something located beneath the Eiffel Tower in Paris, and that they will not function until the year 2113. Whatever is sitting beneath the Eiffel Tower right now, not a single person alive today will ever see it opened. Number 2. Sonic Mania's fan-made masterpiece. This fan made a better Sonic game than the actual Sonic developers, and Sega had to admit it. One player grew up completely obsessed with the original Sonic trilogy. While most fans simply played those games and moved on, this player spent years building their own technical tools, eventually creating an entirely functional port of Sonic CD running on a mobile device, completely independently, without anyone's permission, just to prove it was possible. Sega saw it and brought them in officially. Then came Sonic Mania in 2017. Widely considered the best Sonic game in over 2 decades, this fan was its lead developer. They built the game that the actual Sonic development team had failed to deliver for years. A bedroom fan with an unsolicited demo eventually handed Sega the definitive version of their own franchise. Number 1, Elden Ring's pot-headed hero. A cooking pot on their head, 2 swords, nothing else, and 6,000 victories. Millennia is widely considered one of the most brutally difficult bosses in video game history. She heals herself on every successful hit she lands. She can end even experienced players in seconds. Most people summon multiple helpers just to survive a single attempt. But one player decided that defeating Millennia would be their singular purpose. They entered other players' worlds wearing nothing except a cooking pot on their head, offering to fight Millennia completely alone. For total strangers, free of charge. They defeated her over 6,000 times. The internet made them a permanent legend. And then, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 immortalized them forever. A pot-headed skeleton lying peacefully in a forest. 2 swords at their side. Red poppies growing from their chest. A pot. A legend. Eternal. So that is 20 video game players who did the impossible. If you enjoyed this, a like is genuinely appreciated. Subscribe if this is your kind of thing. And thank you all for watching.